Hey everyone, hope you guys are having a wonderful day and hope you guys enjoy this video. This is going to be a squads video. You guys seem to really like the duos tier list and where the characters are at and all that. So I'm going to do a duos tier list now a squads tier list and get that out there just so you guys can see where everything's at. Again, this is going to be just my opinion. I know these don't really matter. The tier lists aren't that important, but people like to see them and see where everything goes. I think the biggest thing for tier lists is it kind of gets where people's heads at for what they could be doing or when they're playing against the character, how they play against the character differently. If you're going into this game and you're brand new, I'd recommend, as always, for any tier list, is that you just play what you want to play and have the most fun with that. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Again, we're going to start with Hudson and Oath. So Hudson, as strong as he is in duos, I believe he's the exact same character in squads. I think the character just creates too much room and creates too much of a problem for a lot of team comps. Any dash getting interrupted by barbed wire, it's just so much damage output. When you drop hot drop, Hudson just does a bunch of damage, doesn't have a lot of options to be countered. Late game team fights, he controls zones very well, stops a lot of people from doing things, can insta blow up volts as well. Volts and squads take a long time. He can kind of sit there with his minigun and just slam it and do a bunch of damage that way, similar to like how Felix can do it. But with that, I think Hudson's like the best character in the game right now. He's super overtuned. Again, I think an overheat mechanic would be really nice, and then reduce what the ult threshold needs. So maybe at 50% you get pulled if there's an overheat mechanic on the minigun. That's my personal opinion. That's what I would nerf with him and change with him and just kind of readjust him. I think him just being able to sit on a corner, hold his minigun down the whole entire time, and while he's shooting his minigun and he can dash, is just a little bit strong. Little rant there. All right, next up on the list is Oath. I think Oath is very strong on squads as well, just because, again, he's super tanky, has a shield, and does a bunch of healing and creates so much room. His ultimate can completely separate a fight on squads, split up a fight, and then you can just pick one person. Can find or like funnel out one person, block autos from coming in, and then allows your team to walk in, that being maybe like a Brawl or maybe a Bishop or anything like that. It just allows a lot of room to be made. It allows them to kind of do what they need to do and make a bunch of room for that, if that makes sense. Just a big room maker, a lot of tankiness, a lot of healing, and a lot of damage. So yeah. Next up on the list is going to be a we can just go left to right now. We did this in the other one. Let's just go left to right. Bishop. I said Bishop was very strong in duos. I think she's a little bit weaker in squads, as I think she can't do as much of like jumping around and just one tapping one person. I think her damage is a little bit lacking compared to what the comps you usually end up facing. Like if you're facing anybody that has a healer, she won't be able to do as much damage as you need to because she doesn't have any anti-heal built into her kit, which is a little bit of an issue in squads, I'd say, on its own. I do think she's a very strong character. I'd probably put her in A again. Maybe I'll put her at top of B. Not too sure where I want to put her, but I'll probably put her on top of B for now. I think she does do a lot of damage, and she does do the similar thing to duos, but she has a harder time getting in, and with CC being more prominent in squads, you can get CC'd out of everything that you want to be doing, making her a little bit of a weaker character. Brawl, I put on a lower list on duos. I think Brawl in squads is very strong. As long as you have like a frontliner and a healer, allows you to the fight to kind of go long enough where you can build your empowered, and then you can get in there, get your resets off, kill a bunch of people, and cycle through your ults and your right clicks and all that, and you just do a bunch of damage and be a really ratty character. And you can kind of just be like in and out of fights like super fast, and it kind of can create a little bit of issues for teams. Obviously with teams that are running like Hudson, your dash can be interrupted and yada yada yada. You do have a lot of options of getting in and getting out. I've seen a lot of people not really use their chain to go in unless it's guaranteed. I've seen a lot of people holding their right click, using that dash in, and then using their jump, stunning, attaching the chain, and they'll just chase down one person that has their dash. After their dash is done, they'll chase them and kill them. Also, just people getting lower at an HP allows you to use your ultimate to reset your ults every single time, just a lot more damage output that can happen, allows Brawl to do more of what he wants to do and being in and out of team fights. Celeste, I think Celeste is a pretty mediocre character in squads. I'm gonna put her in C. Again, I think her damage is too low. I think her ult's a little bit stronger, but due to her damage output being very low, and I don't think she has any inherent anti-heal as far as I'm remembering. So I think with that, I just don't think she's that strong of a character. I think her ult or her wall is kind of useless sometimes. If not 80% of the time, it's kind of just there and it gets sent out and you're just like, okay, it's there. So I think she's a bottom tier character in squads. I just don't think she has the damage output, and with healing comps being very prominent right now, I don't think she's a strong character. Elluna, I do think she's the weaker of the healers in this as well. So I'm gonna actually put her in C. I don't think she can heal enough and do enough in squads, weirdly enough. I think her early games are probably her strongest point in squads, but because so much damage can be separated and between people, her ult becomes lesser value. She has a lot of save though. You can pick up pips, I call them, but Wizard 101 reference. Pips, grab the pips and then run away with it. So that's nice with like safety, and she has a lot of mobility that way with being able to res people. I just don't think she like does anything in squads. If anything, I'd put her lower than Celeste just because I just don't think she's that impactful of a character. Felix, I think, is a very strong character in squads. Being able to just dash in with your ultimate and then use your Q and pull everybody in and getting a really fat shield makes the character a huge issue. You can also ping pong your flame burst all over the place and just do a bunch of damage that way. Has a lot of survivability. I've been seeing a lot of people running hybrid Felix. I've been running personally damage Felix. I've been loving it with the lifesteal. It's just felt very strong. But I think in like higher end squads, if I was really tryharding and really running high end squads, I'd probably go hybrid or tank, just so I can kind of just be a disturbance to everybody and make everybody's job harder that I'm facing. My damage wouldn't be super high, but I'd basically just be ticking people though with the max health percentage that flame does, or the burn does. So yeah, Ghost I think is probably the worst character in squads. I don't even think I really run into this character, honestly, which probably just means he's bad in general, but the times I have run into him, I just don't think he really does anything, especially in squads. Like in duos, at least you can hit a like a nade one-shot combo and just kind of kill somebody, but in squads, you're kind of just there and that's it. Honestly, you're literally just there. You're just kind of shooting your gun and that's kind of it. You have ammo. One character, big chunker character that has 4 million health does not. One does and does not do a lot of damage. Just something to keep in mind. Jhin, unlike Brawl, Jhin, I feel like in squads is a weird character. I think he's probably B. He's probably under Bishop. He's definitely under Bishop, but I think he just sometimes can't get his job done, making his job very difficult. He's probably honestly probably above Celeste, but I think it's very hard to make this character do things, as he is just very squishy and sometimes he just dies in a team fight and that's it. That's the whole entire character. With these duos, you can kind of be like all over the place and make a bunch of moves and kind of like kill somebody, where in squads sometimes you kind of just get popped and you just get one tapped and you're dead. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for this character. I just don't think he can do his job a lot of the times, and a lot of the times it's just too difficult. It's kind of one of those things, if it's too difficult to do what he has to do to make it actually worth picking him type of thing. So yeah, Joule, I think Joule in squads feels probably pretty good as long as you're getting your dash resets off. I think she's worse than Bishop, but they're probably almost in the same tier. I think Joule being able to reset her dash and kind of like be in and out of a team fight's really nice. You can kind of do a big burst damage and call it and get out. But she kind of lacks the thing of like, outside of that in a fight, she's not really doing anything. Like just killing, like knocking one person in squads is not the same as knocking one person in duos. And that's why I rate her so highly, because in duos, she'll just one tap somebody instantly. And then obviously you're in a 1v2 right away. But in squads, you still have those 3 other people that you have to deal with. And you're also going to be getting hit by like 4 people in, you know, in a team fight and stuff like that, where it's harder to get your 4 stacks off and getting that up and getting that built up to do that burst damage. Her ult also in squads, I wouldn't say is that much value. She kind of just uses it. I feel like 90% of the time, I feel like I see Jules just dashing out with their ult, just kind of using that as like a last resort. But yeah, Kingpin, I think his value is going to be going up with the tech of like the shift dashing and one tapping people and doing that big burst. I think in squads though, Kingpin has that thing of like too many people, too many targets to hit for it to be value to being pulled. Again, you just have a lot of life, but I think he's a bottom tier B. I think there's just too much for him where he can't really do what he wants to do, which is just kind of like picking one person, killing them, and getting out type of thing. But I have seen a lot of the stuff of like, again, I'll reference Nidhogg. He's doing his dashes and just one tapping somebody instantly and just getting them off the map as fast as possible. Makes that kind of be a bit of a issue for a lot of people, I think. And his pull is really annoying. He's very tanky, but he does lack the range, and there is more characters that can kind of save the person that gets pulled. So yeah. So I put Myth on a very low tier in duos. I think in squads, the fact that you have 3 other bodies in front of you allows you to kind of just pump that damage like over and over and over and over and over and over again. And she kind of just does a bunch of damage like that with having long drawn out team fights. If you can get your long range bow charge, you can just pump damage down the row, and you just do so much, and it's very hard to deal with. You also have the mobility of your shift to get 3 people potentially out of a bad situation, making the character's value go super far up, in my opinion. Putting an extra point in your shift and allowing everybody to get in and out of team fights as necessary, I feel like is super important. So yeah. We're going to go right into a Shiv here. I feel like in squad, Shiv's in a similar boat of like Ghost, where you just don't do anything. She's definitely better than Ghost, but I think she's in a boat of like, she just doesn't have enough damage to kill 4 people. And the cases that she does kill 4 people, it's probably like her walking in, last hitting and calling it a day, versus disrupting like a whole entire fight and then actually doing everything herself. And so that reason I put her low. I think she's not the worst character. I think she's strong in duos. I just don't think she really does anything in squads, if that makes sense. So yeah. Shrike, I actually think has a lot more potential in squads, just because there's, again, similar to Myth, there's 3 people in front of you. I think she's bottom of B because she has a lot of potential of just like killing a lot of people and just making that room and space, or utilizing that room and space, I should say, and just creating a bunch of problems for her opponents and just killing people. Unlike though, I'd say Myth, she has charge up time longer, and it doesn't benefit as much as Myth benefits of like, she has options of when she wants to shoot her arrow and how much damage it will end up doing. Again, Shrike's ult is literally pretty much useless. It's like the lowest chance that you're going to hit it, and it doesn't really do too much anyway. So yeah. Then we're going to go into Void. I think Void's really strong in duos. I think Void's also strong in squads. Harder to make him work because it's easier to get out because there's just more people. Harder to get a big ult, but if you're good on like the flank and stuff, I think there's potential for him. I do think fights are a little bit too fast for him in general in squads, but for the sake of like what he can do, kind of similar to Kingpin, like they both have options of what they can do, I'm going to put him in B. I think Void's really strong. Again, has the ult. I can just one tap people, and if multiple people stack up, you'll just kill them all. I do think fights are a little bit too fast for him, where he can't get his like stuff off like he does in duos and stuff like that. But he does have the potential of just instantly winning a team fight because you press your ult key. But in squads, a lot of people can just hang on to the Void, and the Void doesn't have enough damage output to scare them away. So yeah, also harder to kind of just walk into a team fight, stun somebody, ult them, and that's the end of the team fight and call it a day. And last but not least is Zeph. think Zeph is a very strong character in squads, has so much healing, has a lot of control, and a lot of mobility for his team, getting them in and out of fights. I think he's bottom of S. I think he kind of fit into Zeph anywhere in any team comp, and he's going to feel good in squads. And I think he just does just enough in almost every single team comp where he kind of does like a decent amount of damage, but he has so much sustain for his team where it's just very difficult to deal with him. And if people are doing like a fast engage, like you do avoid Zeph, Oath, and maybe like a Felix comp, and you can have team fights stall out for a while, and then allows you to use Zeph ult, push them back, allows the Void to get flanked because the team fight's going on so long. There's a lot of options for team comps there. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. A different look at squads and duos. I think that is completely fair, though. I think squads and duos completely different games. I believe the game is, I've heard people say the game is balanced around squads, which makes sense for why so many people are in B. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Please feel free to comment below what you guys want to see next. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Adios.